Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tadotayam Udire Nasya Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavad Shloke Bhakti Bhakti Naishiki Krishna Swadamo Bhagavate Dharvagana Visa Kalana Sadrishamisha Purana Kadanolita Sarvayanta Sarami Sri Bhagavatam Ishite Sarva Samrita Chutasya Nanyatasya Pratikvasi Krishna Tulya Bhagavata Vivusarvashaya Pratishloke Pratyakshare Nahathataya Premaya Bhagavata Krishna Sriyanga Tate Gainata Gopi Krishna Kanto Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. So now we're on Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 26th chapter, right? And this is teachings of Kapila Muni on Sankhya Yoga and Sankhya system of understanding the reality of the material world and the reality of God. So Kapila Muni is teaching his mother, Devahoti, who was the wife of Kadara Muni. Her husband, after giving 9 daughters and 1 son, he did his duty as a husband, as father, and then he went off to seek self-liberation, self-realization. So in chapter 26, Vishwanath says that this chapter describes the Mahatattva and Ratarupa and all the different elements of the world. So he says in verse 2, I will explain to you nature of Atma, Bhagavan, for attaining the highest goal, which will cut the knot in the heart. The knot in the heart means material attachment. What is the result of understanding all the elements of the material world? The result is, Krishna says, that one will understand that the Atma is separate from the body. And some nice commentary by Srila Prabhupada on this verse, page 683. Actually, Prabhupada's commentaries are very clear, easy to understand, and very applicable to the ordinary person. Vishwanath is a lot of Rasic understanding. I like it. He has some interesting ideas, but running commentary verse to verse is much more interesting and applicable for our spiritual benefit to follow the teachings and purports of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. You can't ignore them. You can't say, well, I'll just read Vishwanath's commentaries and translation of the Bhagavatam. You won't get a very clear picture of the whole thing. But if you have read Prabhupada's, then you enhance it and embellish it by reading commentaries of Vishwanath, then you get a fuller picture of the whole reality that we're pursuing. This is Prabhupada's commentary in verse number 2, chapter 26 of the 3rd Canto. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Sanatana Goswami the constitutional position of the individual Atma. Each and every individual Atma is the eternal servitor of Krishna, Jivara Swarupaya Krishna Nityadas. Every individual soul is eternally a servitor. When one is fixed in the understanding that they're part and parcel of Paramatma, then one's eternal position to serve in relationship to Bhagavan becomes self-realized. This position of engaging as a servant of Krishna cuts the knot of material attraction, which is in the verses Hridaya Grantam Vedanam. Vedana means cut. we say, Achinta Veda Veda Tattva. Abed means no cut, no division, no oneness. And Bade means cut. So this philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is simultaneous, one and different. It's oneness and it's different from Bhagavan. The Atma is one with Bhagavan in quality, but not in quantity. So then he goes on to say, due to false ego or false identification of oneself with the body and the material world, one is trapped in Maya. But as soon as one understands that qualitatively the Atma is the same as the Paramatma, and the perpetual position of the Atma is to serve the Paramatma, one attains Atma Darshan. In other words, you see yourself as you really are. We're really meant to serve, not to enjoy, which is a kind of a rude awakening to most everyone. Because everyone thinks I'm here to enjoy. Even the Christian concept is God made this world for us to enjoy. But that's not the Sanatana Dharma idea. It's not the existential idea either. God made this world for us to serve, use it to serve Him. He made us, as a matter of fact, not only the world, He made us to serve Him also. When one can cut the attachment to the material world, one is understood to be seeing the self. At one time, someone asked Prabhupada, what does it mean to be self-realized? He said, you are self-realized. He said, what do you mean you're self-realized? Self-realized means serving Krishna. Simple. It's not too complicated. Pick up a broom and sweep the temple, and you're self-realized. Like when I joined ISKCON in LA, I said I wanted to get self-realized. They said, okay, clean the bathroom. I said, is that Bhakti Yoga? He said, yeah, damn straight. That's Bhakti Yoga in its purest form. So I got right to it. So Avadarshan means to see oneself by knowledge. When one is free from false ego by getting spiritual knowledge, one can see oneself. And that is the ultimate necessity of human life. The soul, the Atma, is different from the 24 elements that make up Sankhya Yoga and Sankhya philosophy of the material world. In other words, you study everything in the material world and you got the idea of neti. I'm not earth, I'm not water, I'm not fire, I'm not ether, I'm not mind, I'm not intelligence, I'm not body. Who am I? Kiami. Who am I? Then you take it from there and start to make progress. So that's Prabhupada's commentary on that verse. All right, let's look at the third verse. The Atma is called Purusha. The Atma is eternal, has no material qualities, because he's not really connected with Prakriti. The Atma is beyond the senses. It has a spiritual Dham. The Atma is self-manifesting, and from this universe, the Atma appears. And again, I'm going to quote Prabhupada's commentary on this verse. Read the Sanskrit.
Anadiratma purusho nirguna prakrite para pradyagdhama svayam jyotir vishvam yena samanvitam.
Very nice verse, actually. Sanskrit. Here's Prabhupada's translation. This is chapter 26, verse number 2. The Supreme Personality of God is the Paramatma. He has no beginning. He is transcendental to the modes of nature, beyond existence of the material world. Paramatma is perceivable everywhere because he's self-effulgent and by its self-effulgent luster, the entire universe is manifest. Purusha means person. When we think of a person in our present experience, that person has a beginning, which means birth, and history, beginning of one's life. But Bhagavan is mentioned here as anadi, which means beginningless. If we examine all persons, we will find everyone has a beginning. But when we approach a person who has no beginning, that person is the Supreme Person. That is the definition of Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Supreme Personality of God is Krishna. He's the Supreme Controller. No beginning, a beginning of everything and everyone. Like sometimes people challenge, they say, you say Krishna is the origin of everything. Who's the origin of Krishna? You say the buck stops there, Jack. He's the original. There's nothing beyond him. You go back and so your father had a father, you have a father, you have a father. So Krishna had a father. Yeah, he does. Not the Rama. Who's his father? His father's Parjanya. Who's his father? He goes to Brahma. And then who's his father? Krishna. So Krishna's the father and Krishna's the son also. So there you go. Krishna has a father and he is the father. So keep you guessing. So what else does Prabhupada say? Krishna is described as soul or spirit. What's the definition of spirit? Atma. Atma is perceived everywhere. Sarvagata, the Gita said. The greatness of Paramatma is everywhere. What is that greatness? The greatness of Atma and Paramatma is consciousness. We all have personal experience of consciousness. Consciousness is spread all over the body. In every inch of our body we can feel consciousness. This is individual consciousness. There is also super consciousness. The example can be given of a small light and sunlight. Sunlight is perceived everywhere, in the sky in the room, but a small light is experienced within a specific limit. Similarly, our consciousness is perceived within the limit of our particular body. But super consciousness is God. It's perceived everywhere. God is present everywhere by his energy of consciousness. This is stated in the Vishnu Puran. Nitya Nityananam Chaitanya Chaitananam. Wherever we find anywhere, everywhere is the distribution of the energy of Bhagavan. Bhagavad Gita also explains that Krishna's energy is all-pervading, exists everywhere. Two kinds of energy, spiritual and material. Spiritual and material energies are spread everywhere. The existence of consciousness everywhere is not temporary. It's without a beginning. Because it is without a beginning, it is also without end. The theory that consciousness develops at a certain stage of material combination is not accepted herein. For consciousness which exists everywhere is said to be without beginning. The materialist or atheistic theory that there's no soul, there's no God, that consciousness is a result of a combination of material objects is not acceptable. Matter is not beginningless, it has a beginning. As our material body has begun on the base of the soul, the entire gigantic universal body has begun on the basis of the Paramatma, Supreme Soul. Vedanta Sutra said, Janmadyasya yata, which is also part of the first verse of the Bhagavatam. It's from Vedanta Sutra. 111. First verse, first section, first chapter of Vedanta Sutra. This entire material exhibition, creation, growth, maintenance, dissolution, is an emanation from a Supreme Person. Krishna says in the Gita, I am the beginning, I am the source of birth of everything. Ham bija pradapita. Krishna is not a temporary person, nor does he have a beginning. He is without a cause, he is the cause of all causes. It's a very basic commentary, but very much clear explanation of the reality of philosophy of the difference between matter and spirit. It's very helpful commentary. Because Krishna is complete spirit or consciousness, material miseries and modes of nature don't touch him. He is Swayam Jyoti, he is light himself. We have the experience of the material world, one's light being a reflection of another. Just like moonlight is a reflection of sunlight. Sunlight is a reflection of the Brahmajyoti. Brahmajyoti is the spiritual effulgence, reflection of the body of Vishnu. This is confirmed in Brahma Samhita, Yasya Prabha Prabhavata. The Brahmajyoti is the bodily luster. Therefore, this verse describes Bhagavan as Swayam Jyoti. He's self-illuminate. Just like a living body, because consciousness is there, has light. When a soul leaves the body becomes black, goes dark. The colors, that lose all light quality. He is himself is light. The Upanishads confirm, because of the bodily luster of Krishna, he illuminates the whole spiritual world. There's no need for sunlight or moonlight or any other electricity. There's a nice verse in Radharani that Radharani, she has 10 headlights on her car. Your headlights, you know. It says her toenails are so effulgent, it's to light up the footpaths. When she goes out at midnight to meet Krishna, walks along the footpaths, her toenails are so radiant, like full moonshine, so like little headlights shining up the whole footpath. So she can see where she's going, but the light is on the ground so nobody can else at a distance can see that light. Like a car moving down the road, you see a car from a distance, you see it a long way, all cars going. But you can't, Radharani's headlights are always shining on the ground. Her toenails are only illuminating the ground, so she doesn't step on any cobras or any thorns. It'd be nice to have those who may go around frequent at night. Well, we don't have toenails like that, so we step on thorns and rocks. Oh, I remember going around, get some special mercy sometimes. So, spiritual world is, so it goes, it's all about light, it's a lot of light here. So then Brahma Samhita confirms, Goloka Evaniva Sadhya Kilata Bhuta. Krishna is living in Goloka, but still he's present in all recreation. He is the super soul of everything. He has innumerable transcendental qualities. Prabhupada really likes to glorify Krishna. These commentaries, there's 18,000 verses in the Bhagavatam. How many verses are Prabhupada's commentary?
Must be less.
18,000.
No.
Over 10 canto.
What I'm trying to say is, this is one verse, which is a half inch of the book, and the whole page of the book is his commentary. So each two verses, 4 lines. So every commentary you take 4 lines, consider that one verse of Prabhupada. There's every verse of Bhagavatam there's 10 verses of commentary. So that means Prabhupada's commentary is 1,80,000 verses. So when you read the Bhagavatam of Prabhupada, you read a book of 1,80,000 commentaries, 18,000 slokas. So it's 2 lakhs of verses. That's why it takes so long. You haven't finished it yet. So a long way to go. Some people get the most sloka Bhagavatam in Hindi. 18,000 verses. They don't read that even. What to see of this? Oh. But it's great. It's really a great book. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Okay, Paramatma. So it's all about Jiva and Prakriti in this chapter 26. Here's a breakdown of the 24 elements of they call what we call Sankhya philosophy. You say so. One of the 5 great elements are earth. It's called Panchabhuta. 5 great elements. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. Ether means sky. And the 5 sense objects. What are the 5 sense objects? Form, rupam, smell, sound, touch, taste. Then the 10 senses. Eye, ear, skin, eye, tongue, nose, voice, hands, feet, reproductive organ, and elimination organ. Then that's 10. 10 knowledge acquiring senses. 10 working senses. Karmendriya, 5 Gyanendriya and 5 Karmendriya. So that's 10. And 5 elements is 15. And 5 sense objects is 20. So what's the 4? Mind, intelligence, ego, and chitta. The Gita doesn't mention chitta. Gita only mentions ego. Hankara vimudadva, what's that verse? Bhumarapo. Hankara tiya vinna prakrishta. But chitta is considered subconscious mind. What's the 25th element of Sankhya? Time. Verse 15. The 25th element is Kala, time. I think it's sleeping time for you guys. Lunch at 2, sleep at 3. Good night. Anyway, 25 is that. There's 28 elements of Sankhya. Actually 25, but there's 3 more. Krishna says 28, verse 18. What are the 3 more? Jiva, Bhagavan, and Prakriti. How is Mahatattva represented in the material body? Mahatattva is Chitta. So Chitta means subconscious mind. Everything we're going to be in this life, everything we're going to be next life, everything we were last life, it's all in the subconscious mind, which is called Chitta. In different stages of karma. Prabdha karma, bijam, and kutam. And who's in charge of the Mahatattva? Vasudeva Krishna. And there's 4 expansions of Vishnu called the Chaturvyuha is Vasudeva, Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Sankarshan, Pradyumna. Aniruddha is in charge of mind. So you're a crazy guy, you're a crazy girl, like most people. Pray to Aniruddha. Where is Aniruddha living? Because he's also living in the moon. He's represented in the moon. Because the moon is the deity of the mind. So there's a prayer to the Mahanidhi Hridaya Rishikesh Riyatme Namaparamhamsa Purna Vitapne. There's a prayer on Aniruddha where you see the moon. No, excuse me. Aniruddha is living in the sun. It's a prayer to the sun planet. Oh, Aniruddha, please make my mind pure like the sun. So we see in verse 27, it talks about Hankar transformation. Mind appears from sattva, and then the mind has the general desire for objects. The mind produces samkalpa, which means an idea to attain an object. The mind is situated in Bhagavan Aniruddha. He's the master of the senses. He's worshipped by the yogis. And you see a commentary on verse 29. Chitta Ahankara mind assists the senses. Intelligence, buddhi, gives special assistance. Here's an example. First I hear a sound. This sound is registered in my subconscious mind as awareness. The intelligence realizes this is sound. Then the mind either accepts sankalpa or vikalpa. Sankalpa means accepts. So the mind's duty is two things: to accept or reject the objects of the senses, which are passed to the subconscious mind and weighed and discriminated by the intelligence. The intelligence identifies the sense objects, and then the mind, subconscious mind, stores them, and the conscious mind says, I like it. I want it. And then he gets energy to try to get it. He prays to God or gets the money and goes and gets it. So there's a very interesting progression. Even though chitta, ahankara mind, assists the senses, buddhi gives special assistance. First I hear a sound. So that sound is registered in the unconscious mind chitta, simply awareness. I heard something. The intelligence says, what did I hear? The intelligence is always asking questions and giving answers to itself. Who, what, where, or why? This is intelligence speaking. Intelligence gives the answer. Oh, that's a bird. What kind of bird is that? We heard the birds laughing yesterday. We went to Vamshivat. On the other side of the moon, and there's a Vamshivat tree there, a banyan tree. Everybody's putting their ear up to the tree. You go there, old men, young men, everybody's got their ear in the tree. And where people's ears hit the branches of the banyan tree coming down to the earth, it's all set smooth. It's all polished from ear sandpaper. The ears are becoming sandpaper because so many thousands, millions of ears are rubbed up against that branch. People go like this, they're all saying like this. Because they don't want to hear anything distracting from one ear. So they put one ear to the branch. What do they hear?
Drums.
They hear a flute? No.
Would be nice.
They hear drums. Everybody heard it. They hear boop, 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 boop. But it's too fast to be a heartbeat. See, you're doubting Thomas. And heartbeats go boom, 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 60 times a minute. But this go boom, 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 boom. Different branches have different beats. One is country western, one is disco, one is hip hop, one is jungle beats. You got different brands. Vamshivat. You see her Bandiravan. That was a fun place. Everybody was over there. Everybody's talking to us in Hindi. You hear it? I hear it. Try again. The first two times I didn't hear anything, I thought it was all fake. They tried again, I heard something, okay, I'll believe it. Now let's look at this. So, the intelligence says this is the sound of a drum inside the tree. And then the mind does sankalpa vikalpa. The mind, the function of the conscious mind is to accept and reject. Sankalpa means acceptance, vikalpa means rejection. Okay, then by hankara means identifying. I desire that sound. I like that. So hankara is where everything, that's where it's trouble. That's the trouble. Because hankara is sense of identity. So like someone sees some sense object, the intelligence identifies it, but the mind decides to accept or reject it. And the mind is, hankara's aspect of the mind is identity. So when the mind thinks on the body, then he or she accepts it or rejects it for the pleasure of the body. This will be good for me, I'll take it. This will be bad for me, I'll reject it. But if someone says, hankara is, I'm Krishna Das, this has nothing to do with me, or I'll take this over to Krishna. I'm not the enjoyer of anything, I'm simply the via medium to connect everything with Krishna. That's bhakti. So hankara is working, but we're working as agents of the enjoyer. Bhaktiram Yogatamasam, the supreme enjoyer is Krishna, and we're his servants bringing enjoyment to Krishna. Here's the first 30 is the characteristics of intelligence, if you have any. This is the question though. If you don't recognize these characteristics,
Then we have intelligence.
then I pray for you. What function of intelligence is samshaya, doubt? What is false knowledge? One is ascertaining correct knowledge. One is remembrance, and one is sleep. So that means people sleep a lot of intelligence? No. But what it means is that sleep is needed for intelligence to work. Maybe they should sleep more. Patanjali says in Yoga Sutra, Praman, Viparya, Vikalpa, Nidra, Smritya are functions of buddhi. Correct knowledge, false knowledge, doubt, sleep, and memory. So in other words, one has very good intelligence, has very good memory. Always has correct knowledge, and is very careful and cautious making a decision. Prabhupada wants to find the intelligent man. Prabhupada said, an intelligent man is one who thinks twice before he speaks. Most people don't think at all. They don't think. If I speak, will I kill this guy or make this guy live? It's finished now. So he said, intelligent person thinks twice before he speaks. I can say this, but I shouldn't. One time, actually my mother told me, before you make a major decision, you should think 1,000 times. Think over, I'm going to do this, I think 1,000 times. By the time you've done that, you don't want to do it anymore. You lost all your energy, the impetus to do it. Should I do it? It's like you pick a flower. You go to the garden and pick a flower. It has many petals on it. You're 12 years old. You pick a flower and say, she loves me. You pick it up and you throw it out. You throw it away. You pick it up. She loves me not. She loves me. She loves me not. I remember one guy, I'm not going to say his name. He was on Bridgeville Curriculum with the Gaudiya Maharaj. He came up to me in the middle of Curriculum and said, you know this girl from Vrindavan, I'm from Mathura. She's, I know who this lady is. She was the disciple of Narayana Maharaj, or she is. And she's a Brahmin. She has a sister, and she's a very good, famous devotee. This guy says, I think she likes me. Hey, you're crazy, man. You're actually crazy. You're a Videshi. She's an Indian Brahmin from Mathura. She's been with Narayana Maharaj since she's 2 years old. And, she's a grown-up woman. She's a school teacher at university. And you're crazy. No. What makes you think she's like, oh, she looked at me in Brickway, you know? The guys could get so crazy. I said, what else? Well, I was leading Kirtan. I was looking around, I saw her looking at me. He painted a whole picture of illusion. I said, just give it up, forget it. Okay, you want a girl, you want to get married, look somewhere else. Don't look there. We have a phrase in America, barking up the wrong tree. Sometimes a bear climbs up a tree, and a dog chases the bear. He can't climb the tree against the bottom tree. He shouts, "Arr!" The bear's barking up the wrong tree. I mean, the dog is barking up the wrong tree. The bear will come down. So I told him, you're barking up the wrong tree. You're wasting your time trying to catch that girl, you know. He was convinced. This is called a tendency for self-delusion. It's very rapid. The tendency for self-delusion. Oh, she likes me. Good luck, man. Don't be fooled. Okay. So let's see what else we have. Here's verse 33. Here's a characteristic of Shabda, sound. Shabda expresses meaning, the revelation of a seer of events in a subtle form of ether. Sound expresses meaning and reveals the seer, such as Vyasa or Sukadeva, who sees the pastimes of Ram and Krishna. Or it reveals the speaker who may be behind a wall. That's called eavesdropping. If somebody's behind a wall, hey, Kilabana did this. Feel the ear behind the wall and go up. It is a subtle form of ether. Ether means sky. Okay, let's see what else we have. These are the qualities of air. Air facilitates movement, gathering, leads sense objects to sense organs, gives light to the senses. Air provides movement. Air brings grass together. It causes cohesion of an object as one unit. Just like in the ocean, there's a piece of straw. The wind blows, and all the straws are blown together, and the air combines them all together. The blowing of the wind on the ocean waves blows all the straws together, they float together. So there's a cohesion, there's a connection of all the straws caused by wind. It brings a sense object of sound, coldness, or fragrance to the ear, skin, or nose. Air brings light to all the senses. So it's analyzing all the different objects of the material world and describing what they do. Each individual object, element of the world is described. The qualities of earth, verse 46, key qualities of the earth. These are obvious things most of it. It's very minutely described and broken down here. Verse 52. People have heard this described before, that the Earth planet, this whole universe, that we're one planet in this universe, there's millions of planets, and there's a shell of this universe, the covering of this universe. It's like having, what do you say? Like having a big ball with hundreds of little balls inside a big ball. So the big ball has a covering of Earth. So verse 52 says each covering is 10 times thicker than the other. So what's the first covering of the universe?
Ego.
Earth. It's earth, then water, then air, then fire, then ether, then sky, or then mind, intelligence, and it goes like this. So that's why it's very difficult to get out of the universe. It talks about the senses and eyes and keys of the ocean and whatnot. Verse 70. So the Vasudeva is Paramatma. Then verse 71. That the prana, the senses, the mind and buddhi, by their own strength, cannot awaken a sleeping individual without the intervention of Krishna. That's pretty interesting. We wake up every day and we consider the mercy of God. I know many sadhus, before they take rest, they pray to Krishna, they say, "Hey Bhagavan, if I'm going to die tonight in my sleep, please help me remember you." When I'm sleeping. A lot of times when we're sleeping, we have no memory. So sadhus will pray before they take rest. "Bhagavan, if I leave my body tonight while I'm resting, please give me memory. Take me to your lotus feet." And the chapter ends, verse 72. Read a sentence.
तमस्मिन् प्रत्यगात्मानं धिय योगप्रवृत्तया भक्त्या विरक्त्या ज्ञानेन विविच्यात्मनि चिन्तयेत्.
One should ascertain and contemplate Paramatma within the body by unmotivated bhakti and knowledge, using the intelligence motivated by bhakti. The goal of Sankhya Yoga, analysis of all the elements, is given. One should meditate on Krishna who is in the heart of Paramatma. So let's see Prabhupada what he does to this verse that we carry. Vrindavan. What verse number is that?
73, 72, 72, 70.
72. Translation. Therefore, through devotion, detachment, and advancement in spiritual knowledge acquired through concentrated bhakti, one should meditate on Paramatma present in one's own body. Although the Paramatma is sitting in the same body as the Atma, the Paramatma has no affection for the body, but the individual soul does. By bhakti, one can detach oneself from the material body. When one is detached from the material world, at that time one can concentrate one's mind on the super soul. As long as the mind is distracted towards material, there's no possibility of meditating on Krishna. In other words, to concentrate one's mind and energy upon Krishna, one must be detached from the material world. One who is freed from material attraction is joyful. He can enter into a world of bhakti and thus be liberated. In a joyful attitude, one can understand the science of Krishna. The analytical study of the elements of the material world, which is Sankhya, and concentration of the mind on the Paramatma, is the sum and substance of Sankhya philosophy. Perfection of Sankhya philosophy, Sankhya Yoga, culminates in bhakti to Krishna. That's the idea, that's the bottom line. Should realize behind everything is Krishna, and we're part of Krishna, and we should serve Krishna. That's chapter conclusion of chapter 26. Now we'll look at chapter 27. Chapter 27, third canto. Kapila Muni. Kapila describes mukti, liberation. So let's see what he says here about liberation. When the mind becomes pure, the concept of Atman also becomes pure. The mind is the cause of liberation or bondage. So a lot of this is repeated in Bhagavad Gita also. Look at verse number 2, chapter 27. When a jiva in waking or dream becomes absorbed in the three modes of nature, or becomes bewildered by ego and thinks they are the doer. What's that verse from? Third canto, third chapter, verse 27. Prakriti kriya Mahanidhi, gulani kami sarvasa, hangara iti What's the last name? Kartamati manite. I did it, I created, I made it, it's mine. That's all illusion. We're one factor of success and action, not the whole thing. Ultimately, success and action is by the mercy of God. Time, senses, place, everything. Verse 5 said we should control the mind by strong bhakti, become disgusted with material life. And then verse 6 Satyabhav Kata. Hearing our Kata with Bhav is very nice. With faith, one should hear Krishna's glories, Mat Kata Shravan, with understanding that Krishna is real, Satyabhav. One should always think that Krishna is real. It's not make-believe fairy tales. It's real. He's real. It's the only reality. One time Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, there's only two realities in the material world, the Jiva and the Holy Name. Holy Name means God, Bhagavan, Krishna. She said there's only two realities, Jiva and Bhagavan. Because they're eternal, everything else is coming and going. Okay, let's see what it's about, a lot about the Jiva here. That's you guys. We're Jivas. And all the way to verse 24, it's all about the Jiva. Look at verse 24. Prakriti can never harm the Jiva. Let's see, let's see what Prabhupada says in this one. 24. Okay, 24. By discovering the faultiness of desiring to lord over Maya, and by giving it up, one becomes independent and stands in one's own glory. Because the living entity is not really the enjoyer, one attempting to be enjoyer gets frustrated. Amen. The word servant is used. People become confused. Because no one wants to be a servant in the material world. However, to be a servant of Krishna is the greatest thing. If one can understand this and can revive one's original nature of servitorship to Krishna, one stands fully independent. In the spiritual reality, one has full independence because one is no longer dependent on the modes of nature. The difference between a devotee and an impersonalist is impersonalists try to become one with God so they can enjoy without impediment, whereas the devotee gives up the entire mentality of enjoying. Does he? Really? No pizza? No ice cream?
No chocolate.
No alcohol? What engages in the transcendental loving service of Krishna. A living entity is called Ishvara, only one engaged in the service of Krishna. In other words, transcendental pleasure derived from loving service of Krishna is actually independence. So become a slave is independence. Sounds like a paradox, but it's not. Usually they say seva is slavery. We say seva is bliss. Okay. Verse 30, look at verse 30. What do you think of that? Look at verse 30. Tell me what you think about it. Read the Sanskrit.
Yadana yogo pachitasu cheto maya susiddhasya visajjatenga ananya hetu shva atha me gati syat atyantiki yatra na mrityuhasaha.
When a yogi's heart is no longer attracted to the abundant enjoyments available only through yoga, one can attain liberation where death can show no pride. What does that mean? Death shows no pride.
That cannot compare. He will not die.
If you beat up everybody, you say, I'm the greatest. I'm the world champ. I am the greatest. So who beats up everybody? Death. Krishna says in Gita, Mrityu Sarva Harashcham. I come as death to take away everything. So death is very proud. Nobody gets away from me. I get you. So you can't escape me. Prabhupada tells a story of two guys who want to escape death. It's a very funny story. They were debauchees, they're very degraded guys. They were from Lithuania. No. I don't know where they're from Calcutta, I don't know. And they were drinking all life and doing all crazy stuff, all kinds of sins. They were getting old and sickly. They said, we're going to die soon. I heard from different Brahmins and stuff. I see pictures in the market of Yamadutas come and take away. And it's all dogs bite you and chains, and it's really gruesome characters. And it's not a good scene. And then one Derek said, no, I got an idea. we can escape the Yamadutas. He said, how are we going to escape them? Well, when death comes, you and I, because you and I, we're going to die at the same time. So when death comes, we'll cover ourselves with a stool. I told this story. We'll cover ourselves with a stool. Yeah, I do. Oh, God.
We're not taking them.
They run away. They won't take you. That's a good idea. They're both, they're both dying. So I got a bunch of stool. And it's easy to find, you know. And you're like, you know, you say, why you guys? Trying to fool me? Trying to outwit me? We're not so stupid that this crowd took them out. So, death is very proud. Even the two guys from Calcutta when they escaped the Grim Reaper, he came in Canto. So I see what Prophet says about him. Okay, what he said here. Prophet's commentary, verse 30. Elevation to higher planets which yogis seek, devotees consider it just the hallucination. Devotees' attention is concentrated on the eternal loving service of Krishna. Therefore, the power of death has no influence over a devotee. In such a devotional state, a bhakti yogi, a lover of Krishna, can attain eternal knowledge and bliss. Oh, that's nice. Only one who sees Krishna in his life will see Krishna in his death. That's the conclusion. So this is chapter's called Liberation. So the idea is liberation by the yoga process. The meditation is described in this chapter. Identifying the jiva as different from the body. That's basic conclusion of this chapter. And for a devotee, it says in 4th Canto Bhagavatam, when Dhruva Maharaj was leaving his body, he put his head on death. He put his foot on death. Put his foot on the head of death. Death came to catch him. He just put his feet on the head of death. Which means it's a metaphorical way of saying he crossed over death. He didn't do it really, because Yamaraj is a great devotee and a great Mahajan. He's one of the Mahajans described in the 6th Canto Bhagavatam with Yamaraj. So Dhruva Maharaj was a devotee, he's not going to put his foot on some head of a devotee. No one who put his foot on the head of someone is Radharani. She put her foot on the head of God. The verse is there in Gita Govinda. What's that verse?
Mama Sirasi Mandanam, Smaragarala Kandanam.
Swargala Kandanam.
Mama Sirasi
Mama
Sirasi Mandanam,
Sirasi.
Dehi Padapallam
Mama Sirasi
Udaramata.
Deepapalam
Udaramata.
Adharmatavam. Oh Radharani, I'm burning the fire of lust. Please ornament my forehead with your beautiful bud-like lotus seed and put out the fire of lust in my heart. That's prayer of Krishna when he's separated from Radharani. Dehi Pada. Dehi means please give me. Dehi Padapalava, your bud-like feet. Mama Shirsi Mandanam, please decorate my head. Decorate, ornament my head with your beautiful feet. So Krishna has tilak on his forehead. What is it? Radharani's footprints. Like you go around Frikma, these little kids come up to you with little metal feet, and you take it and yell tilak, and put feet on your forehead. That's to remind you that Krishna wears Radharani's footprints on his forehead. Because I don't know. Sometimes the mantris, when they're serving Radharani gets angry with the mantris. The mantris painting Radharani's feet. And Radharani kicks the mantri. It kicks her on her foot goes on her arm. And Mantri gets a tattoo of Radharani's lotus feet on her arm. What does she do? She wipe it off? She take a selfie with it? No. She goes around, she goes to lead this good, Vishaka is good, Tukavit is good. Look at this. You want to always footprint? Sure. That's Radharani's footprint. How you got that? Radharani kicked me. They become proud of getting kicked by Radharani. So that's a good deal. So we want to get that kind of mark on our arm, Radharani's feet. Or head, we'll take anything. So let's look at the 6th chapter, 28. Kapil Muni describes and teaches Astanga Yoga. What is Astanga Yoga?
Yama Niyama.
Ashtanga means 8 limbs. Ashta Anga. Ashta, 8. Anga means body, limbs. 8 parts of yoga.
Yama Niyama.
Do's and don'ts, rules and regulations to follow, then sitting, then breathing,
Pratyahara.
then controlling the mind,
Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi.
then fixing the mind,
Dhyana,
then deeply concentrating,
Samadhi.
then continually absorption, then perception of the ultimate reality, samadhi. That's the idea. So what is samadhi for a bhakta?
Absorbing into the Deha.
What?
Absorbing into the
Prema. Radha Dasa.
Prema. Samadhi is praying seva of Radha Krishna and Arsadaya. Put it all together. Praying seva of Radha Krishna and the Kunja in Arsadaya. This is samadhi. Bhakti samadhi. It says that Vyasadeva wrote Bhagavatam one time. He wasn't satisfied. And he made his Guru Narada Muni, and he asked Narada Muni, I'm not satisfied with this Bhagavatam. Why am I not satisfied? And could I describe Krishna's Leelas and so many things? So Narada Muni said, because he didn't reveal the Ras of Radharani's heart. He didn't reveal the prema of Radharani's heart. So now you have to go into meditation and enter the heart of Radharani and then write the Bhagavatam like second time. So the Bhagavatam was written 2 times by Vyasadeva. The second time when he wrote it, the final concluding time, is called Samadhi Bhashya, Braj Bhashya. Samadhi Bhashya is the language of Samadhi because he entered into meditation. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Dharana, Dhyana, Trivana, Sruti, Samadhi. He entered Samadhi and saw the Leelas of Radha Krishna, which he wrote about. But then he entered the heart of Radharani and felt what Radharani was feeling in serving Krishna. Then he wrote the Bhagavatam. Brahma Gita, Venu Gita, all these Gitas, about all the Rasas and Babas were on his heart in the final edition. So that's why it's called, Bhagavatam is written in Samadhi Bhashya, praying Samadhi. That's the definition of praying. They entered into the Nitya of Radha Krishna, entered the heart of Radharani, understood her Bhav, understood her Mahabhav, and revealed her Mahabhav in Brahma Gita, chapter 47 of the 10th canto. So that's the speciality of Bhagavatam. Because Skanda Puran, Vishnu Puran, other Puranas describe Krishna Lila Vrindavan. But they don't have the Rasa and Bhava Radharani's heart enough. Vishnu Puran in English, it doesn't describe the Rasa and Bhava that Srimad Bhagavatam does. Vishnu Puran was written by Farsar Muni or something like that. But Srimad Bhagavatam was written by Vyasadeva. But he compiled all the different Puranas. Every Purana talks about Krishna Lila. But only the Bhagavad Puran reveals how Radharani. That's the speciality. There's Brahma Vairava Purana. There's many Puranas that have all different stories of Krishna inside. They don't have Radharani's heart inside. That's the speciality. That's why Lord Chaitanya emphasized Srimad Bhagavatam. He read it every day. Let's look at chapter 28. So it's like an overview of yoga. So all you guys are yogis, you know all this stuff. So it talks about rules, regulations. Nice idea. Verse 3, chapter 28. One should avoid duties that lead to material attachment. Be absorbed in activities which lead to liberation. One should eat pure food in moderate quantities. How much food should you eat every day? How big is your stomach? Okay, put your hands together. Now take one hand away. Keep it behind your back. Why? You eat that later.
No.
This time of your stomach is, you're only supposed to put one hand of food. You're only supposed to put one hand of food. And half, another, so what happened to the other half? What the other hand? Half the hand is water, half the hand is air. We take two food, two water, two air. Then we get gas and farts and bellyache. We take Alka-Seltzer and Eno and soda water. I always see Joyce go around bottles of soda water, you know. They're all gas. They're all gas. So it's acidity, the alkaline. Soda is alkaline. So that's not what the teacher was talking about.
Oh, not the fart.
Okay. So it tells all this different stuff. And then verse number 6. Very nice. This is Sangha Yoga, but it's right down our alley. It says, Vaikuntha Lila Dhyanam. Vaikuntha Lila Dhyanam. We should meditate on the spiritual pastimes in the spiritual world. We should meditate on Krishna's pastimes in Goloka Vrindavan. And by this one should attain samadhi of the mind. Samadhanam Atmanam. Atma means mind, Atma means body, Atma means soul. In this case, Atma means mind. Samadhanam Atmanam. The mind will enter samadhi by meditating on Krishna Lila. Okay. They talk about meditating on Krishna or Krishna. Look at verse 11, it's very nice. Very nice verse. See verse 11, read it Sanskrit.
प्राणायामे दहे दोषान् धारणा विश्चकिल्बिषान् प्रत्याहारेण संसर्गान् ध्याने नानीश्वरान् गुणान्.
By controlling the pranayama, one burns up faults in the doshas of the body. What are the doshas?
Kapha Vata Pitta.
Kapha, Pitta, Vata. Air, earth and water and fire. These are the elements in the body, human body. By holding the mind, one destroys sins. By withdrawing the senses from sense objects, one destroys association with sense objects. By meditation, one destroys attraction and repulsion. That's a very important verse. Let's see what it says here. Verse 11. By meditating on Krishna, one becomes free from the three modes of material attachment. Means, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. For every item in yoga system, there is a parallel activity in Bhakti Yoga. But the practice of Bhakti Yoga is easier for this age. Bhakti Yoga is a feasible program that begins with chanting and hearing. One has to purify the psychological condition by concentration and by controlling the senses. Then one can fix his mind on Krishna. That is samadhi. That's pretty cool. Instant samadhi. And in 1966 in New York, they had a flyer. They were passing out flyers on the street, one piece of paper. And it said, "Stay high forever. Stay high forever." Chant Hare Krishna. Everybody had big beards, long hair like hippies. And they were saying, "Hey man, take this. Say hi, okay. Well, you smoking paper or what?" They thought you roll out the paper and smoke it. You say, I did, I got hide him. They thought like that. They said, "No, chant this mantra." Oh, that's my Krishna. That's very popular. They straight thousands of flyers. Say hi forever. So it's true. So that's what verse is that?
11.
What?
11.
Okay, 11 verse. Oh yeah, I read that at my promise. 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we read that, okay. Yeah, fix your mind on Krishna, you'll be in samadhi. Can't deny that. Okay, let's look at some other things. Then it gets an extensive description of how to meditate on Krishna. for Vishnu actually. Look at verse 19. It says, Shuddha Bhavena Chetasa. Shuddha Bhav Chetasa. With the Chaitana, the mind fixed with pure emotion, one should meditate on Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan as he walks, sits, sleeps, or performs pastimes. Turn on this fan. Please, thank you. This verse is describing Raganuga Bhakti meditation. One should meditate on Krishna Vrindavan under a desire tree. That's nice. That's what we're trying to do every day. Meditate on Krishna. Paris Vishnath.
Turn off that fan, Gurudev.
This one off.
It is off. Not yet. This is off.
Turn that one off.
Off, yeah, it's off.
Turn that one on.
That one. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
So, you see verse 22 describes the meaning and the effect of the marks on Krishna's feet. Krishna has a chakra under his feet. You meditate on the chakra. Where is the chakra? What foot? Right foot.
Right foot, Krishna.
Right.
Krishna's right foot. Meditate on chakra on Krishna's right foot bottom. That will chop off all your enemies, give you complete protection. That's about meditation. Verse 28 talks about Kaustuva money. What color is the Kaustuva gem?
Red.
Red. But it's not a ruby, it's some transcendental gem from Vaikuntha. It's red in color, Kaustuva money. But it's very interesting because all the jivas are inside the Kaustuva gem. You see a Vishnu's commentary. Kaustuva is the top of Jiva Shakti. Krishna, Vishnu in the form of Kaustuva jewel. It's the Atma of the universe. Kaustuva represents unlimited rays of jivas. So in the Kaustuva gem, there's millions of jivas. That's pretty wild. They have a thing called a cameo. Cameo is a little medallion you keep around your neck, a necklace that has a little door on it. Inside there's a picture of your girlfriend or your wife or whatever, boyfriend. So Krishna inside his Kaustuva has all the jivas, all the jivas are inside there. That's pretty wild. Kaustuva is mentioned in many shastras. It's a very mysterious gem. So we have one picture of our cameo, it's called locket. Locket, and sometimes you have a picture of lamination and a picture of Krishna on the neck, Gopal or Govinda. So inside the Kaustuva, all the jivas are stuck in there. You can see what that's what it's described. It's also in Vishnu Puran. It's mentioned here in Bhagavad Puran also. 11th Canto describes all stuff. Look at verse 31. One should meditate for a long time with deep love in the heart on Krishna's glance. Which dispels the miseries of material life. And he smiles with affection and full of mercy. One should meditate on Krishna's glance, which represents all the sweetness of Krishna. At first, which doubles and triples, and finally multiplies millions and millions of times the sweetness. So the glance of Krishna at first looks sweet, then looks twice as sweet, then 10 times as sweet, then millions of times, and 50 million times sweet. That's why you should find a picture of your favorite Murti of Krishna and look at it repeatedly. Or have your own Murti. Sometimes you have a picture of Radha Raman or Banga Vihari or Radha some smiling face. And look at that, meditate on that. Verse 32 is very nice. These are very nice verses for someone who's miserable, like us. Verse 32 says, meditate on the generous smile of Krishna, which completely dries up the ocean of grief. Wow. Meditate on the eyebrows of Krishna, which bewilder Cupid. Otherwise, the eyebrows of some girl bewilder you. Or some guy can bewilder some girl. Meditate on Krishna's generous smile, which dries up the ocean of tears of grief caused by separation of all devotees. Avanata Akila Loka. Akila means all. Bandhu means a friend of everyone. Generous smile lifts the devotees from the ocean of grief and drowns them in the ocean of bliss. Or the smile dries up the ocean of tears caused by material suffering and increases the ocean of bliss and prema. Wow. Smiles are pretty powerful. What takes more energy, the smile or the frown? Which takes more energy, to smile or to frown? Who's a doctor in the audience? What's the answer? Stop smiling, you may find out. Okay. Research that. You know one interesting fact? There's 8,400,000 species of living entities, and billions of individuals in each species. There's only one living entity that laughs.
Human beings.
Human being. Monkeys, fish, dogs, no one laughs. There's no stand-up dog comedians. Stand-up fish comedians. Not possible. All human beings, the only one that can laugh.
But I don't think yours is more possible.
I thank you. Frowning uses more muscle. I knew the answer already. So you're lazy, smile. It's more hard work to frown. So that's conclusive truth. So meditating Krishna, smile, you'll be happy. Okay. Wow, wait. Text 33. One should meditate on Krishna's laughter. When he shows his teeth, his shining, full red lips. One should not desire to see anything else except Krishna in one's heart. Krishna sits on his flower bed, unable to give up closeness to his beloved, to Radharani's ears, eyes, nose, and mouth out of greed for the fragrance of Radharani. Krishna watches as Radharani becomes frightened through the humming of a bee. And Radharani starts waving her arms and cloth, and moving her neck and eyes about restlessly. Pitifully, Radharani cries out, "Oh, Muktaram, I fall at your feet. Please drive this evil thing away." One should meditate on the loud laughter of Krishna, he says. "Oh, Madhukar Raj, don't leave Radharani. Enjoy her." Wow. Without effort, spontaneously, this becomes the object of meditation. This is because of its sweetness. With the laughter, one can see the profuse splendor of Krishna's lips and his row of hind teeth. One should not desire to see anything else in one's heart except Krishna, who is seen in the heart. One should not desire to know anything else in one's heart, since there is nothing greater, and this is the essence of all goals. This bewilderment through tasting bliss is the highest samadhi for devotees. The third anga of the ninefold bhakti. What's the third anga? Swaranam, jhana, meditation. Consists on meditating on Krishna's sweet form, qualities, and pastimes. Has been described in the context of Astanga yoga to attract great yogis and drown them in the ocean of bhakti ras. Wow, that's really great purport, Vishnu. Verse 33. I wonder if Prabhupada mentions anything about that. Sure. That's 33? Okay, 30. The laughter of Vishnu is so captivating that it can easily be meditated upon. One should meditate on the laughter, smiling face of Krishna. There is no other activity that can completely cleanse the heart of the devotee. If the yogi is able to place the beautiful face of Krishna in the core of the heart, will be completely satisfied. That's a nice sentence. If one can place the beautiful face of Krishna in the heart, one will be completely satisfied. But one is absorbed in seeing the beauty of Krishna within oneself, the material attraction can no longer disturb one. Okay, there you have it. Let's see what else we have. That's really nice, huh? See the power of meditation. It's so powerful, so attractive, and so easy to do. You just have to sit down, close your eyes, and think of Krishna. The end of the chapter describes, verse 37, describes the Jiva Mukta, when it's alive in the body but he's liberated. And when it attains one's Sarup, has attained perfection. That's it. That's it. That's next week for class 3, chapter 29, 30, 31. Okay. Promise? So this is nice. We had a nice sweet note. Meditating on the face and smile and laughter of Krishna. Parama Karuna Pavanduvijana Itai Gaurachandra. Kevalananda Kanda. This process is simply joyful. That's probably in this chapter. Prabhupada concludes chapter 28 by saying, for one who engages in bhakti, there is no spell of Maya. Their situation is all perfect. The duty of the living entity, as part and parcel of the whole, is to render service to the whole. That is the ultimate perfection of life. So this chapter is about Astanga Yoga. Astanga Yoga means to serve Krishna with all the senses, all the mind, all the heart, and all the body. So next week we'll start from there. Chapter 29, 30, and 31. Any questions? Jai Jai Shri Radhe